the Mexican worker is very much part of the state of Idaho, the history of Idaho. Regrettably was left out of the history books because we all know the history of Idaho without the Mexicans. But actually, the Mexican population, especially the Mexican laborer, has always been part of the Idaho history. Always. He's always been there. Well, they came here looking for a better life, from Mexico, from the Southwest. A lot of, back in the 1910, there was a revolution going on in Mexico, and a lot of people were disappointed and wanted to get away from the violence, and recruiters from the United States made them wonderful promises. And so they all decided to take the risk and leave their beautiful, their families and their lands and start a new life and come to El Norte, and they were greatly disappointed because, first of all, there was no respect for their human rights, and the companies that offered them housing and a good salary, there was all lies. The contracts were not fulfilled in many cases, and so what happens is that after they work with them, for the workers for 3 months, whenever they needed them, then they were expecting them to disappear. But they did not follow the contract. The contract sometimes said they were supposed to deliver them back to where they, where they picked them up. But many people came to stay, running away from the revolution. And then later, during the First World War, the United States was in need of labor. All over the United States, but especially here in Idaho, there was a lot of, farms, agricultural areas, and mines, and they needed the labor, and so they continued recruiting people. But again, they didn't take care of them. The sad thing is that the Mexican worker, farm worker, depended on the farmer. It was at the mercy of the farmer and the mercy of the companies that brought him here. And at the mercy of the labor contractors, and in a lot of cases they just abandoned them and left them to fend by themselves in the middle of winter. A lot of times, people who investigated here in the United States or in Idaho didn't care to interview the people. They talked to the companies, so they got the perspective of the companies. Everything is fine, and there was one time in 1918 when the Consul of San Francisco sent a letter to Governor of Idaho, was Moses Alexander, to please go and send someone to check on the housing and other issues in eastern Idaho, that he was receiving a lot of complaints. Well, in reality, these parts of the United States were populated by Mexican people and Spanish people way from the beginning, from before the Anglo people came to these areas. Mexicans and Spaniards were already here. They were trading with the Native Americans, and they were searching all the time for, new adventures and businesses. And our life has been full of challenges, struggles, activism. And guess what? We are making strides in this state. We consider Idaho our state, and just like anybody else who has come here, we love this land. We love our state. So we've been here forever. We're here to stay, that's for sure.